All right, diving in deep today with Mastermind and Money. And this workbook, it's not your typical financial advice. It's saying our childhood, actually impacts how successful we are with money later on. Wild, right?
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach. It goes deep into the psychology, It argues that how we see ourselves and even more how we think others see us, especially when we're kids, shapes our financial reality.
So it's like, okay, you grew up thinking money's tight, always got to be careful, that kind of thing. And then even if you're making good money as an adult, you're still kind of stuck in that mindset.
Exactly, yeah. It's like a scarcity mindset. You're hesitant to spend, always worried about running out, even if you're actually doing okay.
So even if you know logically your finances are fine, it's like those deep down emotions are telling a different story and they're the ones calling the shots.
Yeah, that's it. The workbook calls it ego personality versus persona. It's saying from 0 to 8 years old, we're forming these ideas about who we are, and money's a big part of that, right?
Okay, so let's break that down. Let's say, someone's parents were super careful with money, always worried about not having enough. How would that show up later, even if that person is making good money?
Well, that early environment, it can really create this ingrained fear. It makes it hard to relax, hard to enjoy money, even when there's no need to be so stressed.
So they might be, holding themselves back without even realizing it.
Exactly. They're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, even when things are stable. And Mastermind and Money really pushes us to become aware of those beliefs we picked up as kids, how they might be holding us back. It's about seeing those patterns and then consciously choosing a different path.
And this is where things get a little mind-bendy. The workbook talks about duality, that every single event has a positive and a negative side, and they connect this to, wait for it, love and gratitude.
Yeah, they're saying true love, it's the combination of these opposite sides, And the only thing we have one of in the whole universe is love, and that expresses itself as gratitude. So even when something bad happens financially, there's also this opportunity for growth or learning happening right alongside it.
So wait, are they saying we should be grateful when our finances are a mess?
Not grateful for the mess itself, but grateful for the chance to learn from it. Let's say you lose your job. Awful situation, obviously. But maybe that experience, it pushes you to start that business you've always dreamed of or makes you reevaluate your career and find something more fulfilling.
So it's kind of about looking for the silver lining, even when things are tough.
Right, exactly. And that connects back to the idea that our thoughts, they actually create our reality. Mastermind and Money calls it a cycle. Thoughts lead to feelings. Those feelings then influence our actions, and that shapes our experiences. So if we're constantly in that fear and scarcity headspace, well, we're more likely to attract those kinds of experiences.
But if we shift our thinking, focus on abundance even when things are hard, that changes the whole game.
That's it. It's not about ignoring the reality, but it's about choosing how we respond. Do we let fear take over, or do we see challenges as a chance to grow and transform?
Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? How do we shift our thinking and start, attracting more abundance? Mastermind and Money, it offers some pretty interesting tools and exercises to help with that.
One that really stuck with me was the Let's Make Money game.
Yeah.
It's this 10-round thing, and it's designed to show us our subconscious money patterns.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. You pick between option X or option Y, right? And the payoffs are different each round. What makes it so revealing?
It's kind of cool because it makes you make fast decisions in a semi-competitive setting. So you start to see, are you naturally drawn to collaborating, finding those win-win situations, or are you more, I guess, predator, trying to get the most for yourself even if someone else loses out?
But isn't some competition necessary in the financial world? I mean, we all have our own goals, right?
Oh, totally. But the game isn't about saying one way is good or bad. It's about awareness. Once you see your natural tendencies, then you can make more conscious choices in those financial situations. You might realize you're, accidentally sabotaging chances to team up because you're so focused on winning.
Makes sense. It's like shining a light on those blind spots we all have.
Yeah.
So we can make smarter decisions.
Exactly. And this ties into another big thing from the workbook, figuring out our, what they call calling.
Right. Mastermind and Money really emphasizes having a clear purpose, not just with life in general, but with our money stuff too.
And it's saying when our financial goals line up with our calling, it creates a more sustainable path to wealth. When your work feels meaningful, connected to something bigger, well, you're going to be more successful, more fulfilled, right? They have this pretty intense exercise to help uncover that calling. It's like, imagine you've only got one day left to live, but then you get a second chance if you contribute to humanity by doing what you love. What would you do?
Yeah, it's heavy, right? But it makes you cut through all the shoulds and the external pressures. You really got to connect with what you truly desire. Like, what would you do if fear wasn't holding you back? The answer, it can tell you a lot about your true calling and how that could connect with your money goals.
So it's not just making money to make money. It's about using your wealth to actually do good in the world and live a life that feels true to you. But the workbook also makes this connection between self-worth and being able to receive abundance. Oh, that's huge. Mastermind and money, it argues, that we can only really receive what we believe we're worthy of. So if you have these deep down beliefs that you don't deserve wealth, well, you're probably going to sabotage yourself even if you have a clear calling and a solid plan.
So someone could be doing all the, right things financially,
Yeah.
but if their self-worth is low, they could still struggle.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's why the workbook has exercises like the What I Bring to the Table list. You literally write down all your skills, your abilities in all these different areas of life. It's a way to acknowledge your value, you know? And that makes it easier to receive abundance without feeling guilty or, self-sabotaging.
Like giving yourself permission to be successful, to be wealthy.
Exactly. And that takes us to another big concept in the workbook. Universal laws.
I'll be honest, I kind of got overwhelmed when I first read about all those laws. It felt a little, I don't know, out there. Can you break it down? Which ones are most important when it comes to, managing our money?
Well, there are 8 universal laws that they talk about, but 2 that really stand out for wealth creation are the law of circulation and the law of cause and effect.
Okay, I've heard of those. Let's start with law of circulation. How does that connect to our finances?
It's basically saying energy, including money, it's got to flow freely to create abundance. Think of a river, right? If the water stops flowing, it gets all stagnant, unhealthy. Same thing with wealth.
So hoarding money, never spending or investing, that would go against this law.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about having wealth, it's about circulating it wisely. That could mean spending on things you enjoy, things that support your well-being, or investing in your growth, donating to causes you care about.
What about the law of cause and effect? Seems pretty straightforward, right?
On the surface, yeah. But the workbook goes deeper. They're saying our thoughts and beliefs are the cause that leads to the effect of our financial reality. So if you're constantly worried about money or you think wealth is impossible for you, you're creating this negative cause that's probably going to lead to a negative outcome.
So it's not just what we do, but the energy, the intention behind it.
Exactly. The law of cause and effect, it says that everything we experience, it's the result of something we put into motion, whether we did it consciously or not.
That's kind of mind-blowing. It's we have way more power over our finances than we realize.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point of Mastermind and Money. It's about giving us the tools to take control of our finances, to create a life of abundance by understanding these deeper principles and actually using them in our lives.
Okay, so we've gone pretty deep here. Childhood stuff, universal laws, all that. But let's talk practical stuff. Mastermind and Money. It lays out these 7 principles of wealth, and get this, the order they're in, apparently it matters.
Yeah, the sequence, it's intentional. It's meant to create this psychological effect that leads to, more sustainable wealth. And it all starts with paying yourself first, saving, what the workbook calls building your emotional safety net.
So prioritize your own security before anything else. Makes sense. But they suggest starting by saving 10% of your income, then increasing it by another 10% every 3 months. Isn't that a lot? Especially if you're not starting out with a ton of money.
It's definitely about pushing yourself, yeah. But the idea is to make saving a strong habit right from the get-go. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So it's not just the amount, it's the consistency, that commitment to putting yourself first financially.
Exactly. And that sets you up for the second principle, which is, get this, paying yourself again. But this time it's for spending, actually letting yourself enjoy the money you're making.
Hold on. So save, ain't spend. I'm so used to hearing about budgeting and cutting back. This is different.
It is. This principle, it recognizes that money, it's meant to be circulated, enjoyed. By actually setting aside money for things that bring us joy, we're creating this healthier relationship with money, It's not about deprivation. It's about conscious enjoyment.
So that new outfit, a weekend getaway, even that fancy coffee, It's all good as long as it falls under this pay yourself for spending category.
Right. It's about being intentional, making choices that line up with what you value, what brings you real satisfaction, and then, well, got to deal with the not so fun stuff, taxes.
Yeah. Not exactly exciting, but definitely important.
Mastermind and Money, it actually frames taxes as this act of contribution, responsibility, like find a good accountant who can help you navigate all the complexities while still fulfilling your obligations.
They even suggest writing down 200 benefits of paying taxes if you're struggling with resentment or negativity around it. 200.
It sounds like a lot, but the point is to shift our perspective. By focusing on the good stuff, like funding those essential services, contributing to society, it helps us approach taxes with a more positive mindset.
Right. Principle number 4, tithing. Donating a portion of your income to something you believe in. This seems like it goes beyond just personal finance into, spirituality or philanthropy.
It's interesting how they connect those things. They say tithing shouldn't feel like a burden, but like an act of gratitude, a way to keep the energy of abundance flowing.
And they recommend finding an organization that truly resonates with you, giving anonymously, no strings attached.
Exactly. The focus is on the giving itself, not on getting recognition or anything in return. It's about aligning your money with your values, contributing to something bigger than yourself. Then the next few principles, they're a little more straightforward. Mortgage or rent, then food, and then they throw in this interesting extra before bills.
Yes. Between food and bills, we have personal development and holidays.
I love that they included this. It's like they're acknowledging that real wealth, it's not just about paying the bills, it's about investing in ourselves, in experiences.
Right. It's a reminder that financial well-being, it's just one piece of a truly fulfilling life. We got to take care of our mental, emotional, spiritual needs too. And that often means investing in ourselves, creating memories that enrich our lives. So that course you've been wanting to take, that trip you've been dreaming of, those aren't like frivolous expenses. They're investments in your overall well-being.
Exactly. And then finally, we get to principle number 7, bills. Mastermind and Money. It gives some practical advice for managing them, like setting up a separate account, automating payments, talking to companies if you need more time.
So it's not just about aligning yourself with abundance philosophically. It's about having systems in place to make sure you're financially stable.
Exactly. And remember, these 7 principles, they're a framework, not like rigid rules. Adapt them to your situation, your goals, but keep that underlying intention in mind. Creating a conscious, balanced approach to wealth.
Now, the workbook also talks about things that can destroy wealth, like going off plan, letting other companies drain your income. They even use this kind of blunt term, farting, to describe those little leaks in our spending.
It's definitely a memorable analogy. It's about being aware of those small expenses that can add up and, drain our resources without us even realizing it.
On the flip side, they talk about things that build wealth, having a clear plan, being disciplined with our spending, and of course, understanding those universal laws we talked about.
It all comes down to taking control, making choices that align with our values and goals.
And Mastermind and Money wraps up with this concept of mastery of wealth. It's about understanding that money is cyclical. There's building, maintaining, and even destroying, or as they put it, accumulating, sustaining, and dispersing.
It's a powerful reminder that wealth, it's not this static thing. It's meant to flow, to circulate. And those 7 principles, they help us manage those different phases consciously, effectively.
So it's not just about hoarding wealth. It's about using it wisely, sharing it, and understanding that sometimes letting go is necessary for growth.
Exactly. And they leave us with this really thought-provoking question. If you were to die now, what would you have wanted to have done in your life? What would you regret not doing?
It's like a call to action, right? To align our money goals with what truly matters to us, to live a life of purpose, knowing that real wealth, it's so much bigger than just money.
It's about creating a life that feels rich and meaningful on every level, financially, emotionally, spiritually. And that's what this whole deep dive has been about, giving you the tools to create that kind of life.
So there you have it, a deep dive into Mastermind and Money. It's definitely made me rethink some of my own ideas about wealth.
And remember, this is just the start. Keep exploring these ideas, try out those principles, and most importantly, take action. Start building the financial reality you want.